So after entering the driveway, this is what you come upon. Spectacular. It was a long drive to get here, but we made it. So although this is where we are for the summer season, I get to say season. Never thought I'd be a person that says the season. We will be back on the road again. This is just a respite, a place that we can come and hang out for a while before we hit the road again when the seasons change. This is in Nova Scotia, so we are not going to be here when the snow starts to fly. That was not the plan. So we have to keep moving. But for now, we have come to a stop where we can put our feet up, enjoy the land. At some point, probably we'll build some stuff, but just to enjoy right now. Go kayaking. There's a couple of kayaks there. Places that we can come out and have our coffees and teas in the morning, hidden amongst the bushes there. But this beach is just amazing. Nobody can get to it except by boat. And the other properties you have to boat around to see them. Some of them are just really beautiful and huge. And during the week, there's nobody here. They come up on the weekends because it's cottage country. And on the weekend, it gets a little busier. So I'll show you more as these videos go on, what I'm doing here, how it's unfolding, and just all the little things that happen in between. So it's not the end of the trail. There's lots more road tripping to do even while we're here. We're in Atlantic Canada now, and the fun has just begun. Well, we made it. Needless to say, it was a long 5 weeks of getting across the country. And, I call myself a full-time van lifer, but there's also another piece added to that, which is also about homesteading. We drove across the country from the Pacific to the Atlantic region of Nova Scotia, one of the Atlantic provinces here in Canada. And we are now on a property we purchased last year when we were here. But so we're taking a little bit of a break, a respite, if you will, from being on the road. And some of you might say, well, you're not actually a van lifer and a nomad. And it doesn't matter about those labels, guys. It's about the adventure of it. It's about not following the usual prescribed script of how one is living their life. And that's what this channel is about. It's about the adventure. It's about the get up and go when one needs to go, and switching out our address when we want to, because we can do that. And it's a privilege to be able to say that. I do understand that. There are a lot of people out there in the van life genre who are doing it because it's the only way that they can sustain themselves, and I totally get that. So I'm not here to make any point about that other than to say this is how I'm choosing to live my life in this particular way and at this particular time. As long as my health is in good repair and my partner's health is in good repair, this is what we're choosing to do, because we can do that, and it's a blessing to be able to say that. But let's get back to this point of being out here in Nova Scotia on this amazing property. So we'll be here until the weather changes, because why I was out in the West Coast in the first place after having moved from Ontario a decade ago was to move out of the way of the cold weather, which I did. I managed to do that for 10 years. And it's not to say that Victoria wasn't cold, but not the same type of cold. I didn't need the gear I needed in Ontario to get through winter. And here I am back in that type of weather again. But when the weather shifts, at the end of summer, off we go to warmer temps, and we're still working out where that will possibly be. But while we are here on this property, we are still going to do some road trips around the Atlantic provinces where we can and where we want to to go. We don't want to spend too much time traveling because we want to also enjoy this place here. So it's a little bit of a pull and a tug in what we're going to do while we're here. But there are still some trips to be had and for me to show you as we go along on this journey. And but to also do some fun stuff here on the property. There is, all things to do with the water. There's a lake right there, and a beautiful property to walk across and do some things with. I would set up a little studio for myself where I can do my writing and work and still working with clients. I'm still running a business. I'm still have to earn my living, earn my way. It's not that I'm rolling around in a life of luxury, in a life of huge means, but I do have a lifestyle that affords me the ability to do this kind of thing. So I am sort of reporting on the digital nomad lifestyle in the form of this van. And as you can tell from my moniker, Mentor Pam in a Van, that's what I am. I'm a mentor. I work with clients, primarily midlife women and above, who are not done yet. They still have the song in their heart, and even though they might have done other great things and maybe have finished up or retired, or they just want to go into the next iteration of themselves, they're looking for someone to help them pull that together. And that's what I do. I help coach through personal branding and the messaging and the copywriting and all of those things that helps one get out there and be seen and enjoy the process of doing it. So that's what I do. But the realities of van lifing and being a digital nomad and not being a traditional home, it has its moments. And one of the moments that I've discovered living out in the backcountry, because really, if you saw how we had to get here, it's the backcountry, it's the woods. We are in the woods, a space cut out in the woods, and we are living among nature, meaning the critters, the bugs, the weather, all of it, you're at its mercy. We are guests in this place. Our name might be on the land, but we really are guests of nature, guests of the critters. They don't know, that anybody owns anything. They're just doing their thing. They're just passing by, and you see it. I saw a bear across the road, down the way. I saw, you see deer everywhere. You just see nature in all its shapes and forms. And when you're coming from living in the city, the reality of all of a sudden finding yourself plopped in the middle of nature is can be destabilizing, discombobulating, unsettling, if you will, if you're not used to that. I've been preparing myself for the last 2 years on weekend van lifing trips, and that went a long way for preparing me to live my life in other types of settings that are not your beautiful home in a gorgeous part of the world and all of these things with all the creature comforts of home. Now I just have a lot of creatures for the most part. There are comforts. I'm in the van or I'm in the trailer, but it's not the same, and you have to acclimatize yourself to that. And I wonder how many people go out into these circumstances and they don't quite understand what it is that they're actually facing. All right, facing the weather, facing the territory, facing the fact that you don't have everything at your disposal. For us to go buy a loaf of bread, it's almost an hour's journey, a 32-minute ride to the main road, and then you jump on the highway if you want, which is about a 20-25 minute ride on the highway, or you take the coastal road, and that's about as long, if not a little bit longer. So it's not an easy trip into town. You have to be mindful about it. You're going in for a reason. Well, we need groceries, so that's a very good reason. Or we're doing laundry because we don't have laundry facilities on the property and probably never will. But it's about being prepared for what's next. We can't romanticize ourselves into the vision. We have our vision board. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to do that. And then you get there, and it's like, oh, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, right? And still having a great time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not traded in. I'm not one of those, oh, van life sucks. No, I'm not that person. It's just the reality of what was and what now is. The gap is really closing up on that and can't go back to what was left. I can recreate it if I want. I can, at this point, why would I want to? I mean, the effects of being out here, being on the road, having that sense of freedom, even though I'm still working, is life-changing for me. And it's not for everybody. I'll admit that. I don't know any woman in my life, actually, that will make this decision that I've made. And there are many women that have made this decision. I just don't know them all personally. There are no family members that will do what I've done. There are no friends that will do it. They'll go camping maybe. They may go hiking, maybe a little bit of kayaking here and there, but this is not home. Like I've made this home. So all I'm saying is that when you're creating your vision, make sure you know the realities. We live in the fantasy in our head, and usually, I would say always, the fantasy is so much better than the reality of the thing. But unless you want to, if you don't want to experience the reality, stay in the fantasy, and most people choose to do that because one, they can't pull the trigger on this, they can't figure out how to do it. Maybe it's lack of funds, or it's just can't figure it out for whatever reason. I'm not going to go down the list, it's way too long, but they stay in the fantasy. And for those that manage to turn the fantasy into reality, it's then, oh, I need to figure out how to live in the reality. And it's not just about van life, it's about anything you choose. Even when the reality is better than what you left, it's still acclimatizing yourself to that. Many people get the thing of their dreams or the person of their dreams, and they can't hang on to it because they're not attuned to it yet. I practiced this for 2 years on the weekends. I found myself attuned to it. So when it was time to make the big leap into full time, I knew what I was getting into, right? And I can now help other people do that in their thinking. And I can apply this real life experience of shifting into another reality into everything and everywhere now, because I don't think people understand that. It's so much better up here. It's so much better scrolling through your Instagram feed to see what everyone's up to in the world of van life and not recognizing what's going on in reality, okay? What's going on around you, right? So that's all I really wanted to say about that. That we got off the road after 5 weeks of traveling from west to east, and we're now on this land. And I'm also going to show you this really cool item that was shipped to me for a product review from a sponsor that wanted me to try out the product and tell you about it. So let's jump over to that. So here it is, the set power refrigerator that holds nicely inside vehicles and plugs into our our power centers in the back of the van that you see there. And what I really love about it, holds its temperature at 41 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what I really need for it to keep my food nice and fresh, especially the juices that I've been making for myself for health purposes. It's a nice addition to the refrigerator we already have on board. So it's a second cooling unit we have here, and it is a blessing. We had a second cooling unit. We moved it out because the temperature kept fluctuating. It's now in the trailer, replaced by this one, and it's a yes for me. Thank you, Set Power. And I'll do another video to show you all the details of the unit. Way to go. So this is it. This is the homestead. This is where we've landed after 5 weeks of being on the road. It even comes with its own private beach. I'm kind of emotional, it's been a long road to get here. I didn't fathom how it could happen for me. Like we all can't fathom how it can happen, but all I will tell you is write it down somewhere. Don't worry about how. You see, we worry about the how, and so we never think about it. So there you have it, a van life stop for the summer. We are going to enjoy the heck out of it. And I just want you to say, just like I did, post up those pictures, whether it's on a secret Pinterest board or on your refrigerator or bathroom mirror. Just go for it and do what you have to do.